My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Jacob and I are going to break down our bets for UFC 277. This is what we've done with our money. And if you know anything about betting, you know that lines move, odds change, and things change pretty drastically over the course of a week, let alone over the course of a few months. So we will give you all of our bets for free every Friday for the week, that event, a couple days before the event. But if you want to get our early lines, our early bets, our early predictions, so you can get in front of the general public, become a premium member. Go to WeWantPicks.com, scroll to the top, and click Become a Member. It's $10 a month. That's $2.50 per week. We have all sorts of early bets, months in advance, weeks in advance. We have a safety parlay, a 2, 3, and 4 leg safety parlay that has hit every single week since we've been doing it. Hopefully it hits again this week. And we have all sorts of fantasy tools. So go to WeWantPicks.com, scroll to the top, click Become a Member. And if you want 50 free bucks, go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. We have 5 different betting partners. Every single one of them offers their own promotion, their own match. And then on top of it, after you sign up, after you make a deposit, I'll send you another $50, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, just for free as a thank you for supporting us and our partners. Got some interesting money going here, Jakey boy. And we are filming this before weigh-ins, but we got some interesting money going here. I got Drew Dober, minus 230. That last performance with his chin, his durability, the way he gets fights done. He's fighting Rafael Alves. I think he's just literally better than Alves everywhere except pure grappling. So I think he gets it done. I'm very, very confident in him. So I laid out the minus 230. Kai Kara-France, plus 170. Those are big odds for a guy that's on the streak that he's on and looking as good as he's looking. Yes, he's fighting Brandon Moreno, who we know is a savage, who we know can go 5 full rounds, who we know can stay busy and do well. But the reality is Brandon Moreno is 1-1 in his last 3, and that draw should be a loss if it wasn't for a couple of illegal strikes. So I like Brandon Moreno. This is not Brandon Moreno fading. I just think Kai Kara-France has looked phenomenal recently. We know he's going to be the better striker, and we just watched him defend 12 takedowns against Askarov. So can he defend Moreno's takedowns? Can he stay busy the full 5 rounds? Those are the big questions. I think yes. So I got a unit on France as a plus 170 underdog. Amanda Nunes, minus 260. I'm surprised how many of you in the live chat and in the comment section are all over Juliana Pena to win this fight. Because the reality is, Amanda Nunes has not looked like a human being in like 10 years. She's destroyed everybody that was put in front of her, including, her last opponent. Yes, she lost against Juliana Pena, but she beat the brakes off of Juliana Pena the first round and then gassed. And my analysis on this fight was, I think fights were too easy for Amanda Nunes, and she wasn't used to adversity. She wasn't used to somebody still being there after she poured on a beating. And Juliana Pena was still there, and she just wasn't prepared for that. I think she's learned her lesson. I think she will be prepared. 1 full unit on the greatest female fighter of all time to show up with some cardio. Then I have a bet that I'm starting to regret. Like last week, if you guys remember, I had my Curtis moneyline bet, and I told you I got buyer's remorse. Don't follow it. I regret that bet. This is similar. It's full transparency. I'm going to put it here. I could just not say anything, and nobody knows I did it. But, I got a little too excited. I saw Olympic wrestler versus Dontel Mays, and I jumped on it. I still think he wins. I just shouldn't have put money on it, is where this goes. I'm just leaning on the Olympic wrestler component of all this, and we'll see what happens. Don't follow that bet. Then I got a prop, Bet Online. We got 5 partners. Bet Online is the best partner for MMA, just period. They have new prop bets for who's going to land the most significant strikes in a fight and who's going to get the most takedowns. Doesn't even matter if it's 1. As long as it's more than the other person, you'll win. If it's a tie, it's a push. You get your money back. So I got Pavlovic at minus 150 for most significant strikes landed. And the reason that's so incredible is because even when Derek Lewis separates people's heads from their bodies, he lands fewer significant strikes. The dude is outstruck in every single fight, win or lose. That will be no different here. Minus 150 Big mistake on their part. I threw a unit on that. I might even hammer that a little more. I love that bet. You're only going to get that and the takedown bets if you go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. We got 5 partners. Bet Online is the one partner that offers that. If you sign up and you make a deposit, I'll send you $50. That's a lot from me. What do you got going on, Jakey?
Yeah, a little short and sweet. We got Nick, first of all, lock of the week. We're coming off back to back. Lock of the week wins. All underdogs. We're feeling great. We hit the biggest lock of the week of all time. Ludwig Klein last week, plus 375. I wish I would have jumped on this earlier. I started doing my research Sunday. Nick opened up as a plus 170 dog. And I did my research. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I got him as soon as I could at plus 117. I just checked it. It's at plus 105. I would not be surprised by the time the fight starts. He is the favorite in this fight, or he's a favorite in this fight. He's going to be the more experienced fighter, the tougher fighter, the more technical fighter. Obviously, the other guy's got the big power, but I think Nick is tough enough to withstand the big power and just grind out to a victory, if not get a finish on his own. So I put 3 units, because I always put my money where my mouth is when it comes to lock of the week. 3 units on my lock of the week, Nick. I'm following you with Kai Kara-France. I think he gets it done. I was going to make Kai Kara-France my lock of the week. Could not do it to my dude, Brandon Moreno. I'm a big Brandon Moreno guy, but you know what? I think this is going to be a mostly striking match, and you got to pick the better striker in a striking match, and Kai Kara-France is the better striker overall than Brandon Moreno. I understand that people love Brandon Moreno's boxing. I'm not saying he's a bad boxer or a bad striker. Kai Kara-France is just that next level guy in the striking. So I'm going to take the better striker at plus 165 at 2 units. I think he's at plus 180 now. So for some reason, the odds keep widening. I might actually double down on Kai Kara-France by the time the fight's off. If this gets close to plus 200, I'm probably going to double down on Kai Kara-France. So this is another bet that we talked about last week. Angelo mentioned his bets, the most significant strikes landed. They've added on Bet Online. They've also added the most takedowns line. This is Alex Moreno and Matt Semmelsberger. Alex Moreno is a guy that can grapple very well. He's not really a wrestler, but I have a hard time believing that Matt Semmelsberger wants to be on the ground with Alex Moreno. And if Alex Moreno gets 1 takedown, I'm going to win this bet. We figured out that if there's no takedowns either way, which there probably won't be in this fight, it's just a push. You get your money back. But at plus 170, I have a really hard time thinking that Matt Semmelsberger is going to wrestle this guy, being the high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner that Alex Moreno is. So a little bit of a flyer here, but if you push, you get your money back. I put a unit on it. The next 3 are does not go the distance fights. And I don't know what the stats are behind this, but it feels like on pay-per-view fights, there's a lot more finishes than any other card. So I'm going to chase that a little bit. Obviously, the Dober Alves, that's minus 180. They expect that to go, they expect that to be a finish inside the distance. The other 2 a little bit closer. The close Garcia, close with the big power Garcia on the ground, could be a finish. A little bit of a flyer there, so I only put a unit on that. And then Pantoja Perez. Perez coming off the big layoff. Pantoja very well versed on the ground. Both good strikers as well. I think they really get after it being on the main card in front of a lot of people. 1.5 units on that. Again, all 3 of those are just kind of chasing finishes. Big pay-per-view cards. Typically a lot of finishes. Last week we had a lot of boring decisions, so, you know, water finds its level eventually. And the next one is Ankalaev. This is a minus, I think it's a minus 600 favorite that I'm going to get at minus 280 because I'm playing the minus 3.5. I think he absolutely dominates that fight. I'm a Lionheart guy, but I don't think Lionheart's going to have anything to offer him. What Ankalaev needs to do in this is either win inside the distance or win all 3 rounds on all 3 judges' scorecards. I think he can actually drop around on, I think, is it minus 3.5 you can drop 1? I don't think so. Anyway, unanimous decision, minus 3.5. I think the math ends up. He has to win a unanimous decision, 30-27 across all 3 judges' scorecards, or win inside the distance. So if you think he absolutely dominates his fights, instead of playing a money line bet at minus 600, you can get minus 280, which is exactly what I did. 2.8 units to get a unit back on that. No parlays this week. I got burnt last week with, I actually hedged it at the very last second. I told people I wasn't going to hedge it, but I did hedge it at the very last second. But yeah, 9-fight parlay last week that got killed by Aspinall's knee. You hate to see it, so I'm going to take a break on the parlays for a little bit. That's what happens when you play them, but I'm feeling good about my bets this week for sure. And
it should be a fun week. Like you mentioned, UFC London was kind of a letdown, and this pay-per-view on paper is not good. Let's not pretend it's an awesome pay-per-view, and $80 is a lot of money to spend for a lot of people, But I feel like this is going to be a killer card. I think everybody's just going to show up. The fights are going to be great. And that's just what happens with some of these cards. Lots of last-minute guys, lots of UFC debuts, just really trying to make a name for themselves. So, guys, thanks for the watch. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and become a premium member. We give you all of this content for free, but the reality is we have these bets much earlier and much more favorable lines than what you're going to get if you're waiting till Fridays. It's $2.50 a week. WeWantPicks.com, scroll to the top, click, become a member.